Good evening, everyone. I'm Mr. Kennedy. I'm Superintendent of Schools. I'm just first hoping, because I can't see anyone's face, that if someone could just put in the chat that they could definitely hear us and see the elementary school redistricting. If someone could just put that in the chat, just so I can make sure everyone can hear. Thank you. Perfect. I got enough people responding. So I first want to thank everyone for coming tonight. I know there's been a lot of questions surrounding our plans, and what we want to do is introduce to you tonight where we are right now and where we plan on going in these next couple of months as we prepare for this. I do apologize that I had to cancel a couple of weeks ago. I did have a family emergency out of the state, so I don't usually cancel meetings, but it was something that I could not avoid. So I wanted to make sure that I was here for this meeting to answer any questions. So what we're going to start off with is just with a quick slideshow, hopefully that this answers some of your questions before you have to ask them. And then at the end, we'll stick around and answer any questions that you have. We will also be recording this so that we will share this video with you in case you do have to get off or if you miss something. First slide, Mr. Chang. Well, first I just want to introduce everyone. Mr. Chang is our Swiss Army knife, but he's like our director of curriculum. Ms. DiCongilio is our principal at Steen. Ms. Kathleen Molina is our elementary child supervisor and in charge of the preschool program. And then Ms. Priscilla Ortiz is the Bixby principal. So I just wanted them to be on so you can get a little idea of what they look like if you have not seen them, but you will be seeing them in the coming months. So a couple of things about redistricting, why we're doing it, and we're going to get a little deeper into this, but we want to improve alignment of curriculum and instruction, enhance teacher collaboration and professional development, optimize use of resources and facilities, and smoother transitions and school community. I've been in Bogota 15 years. I've been the superintendent. This is, I think, my 7th year. One thing I always hear, Bixby does one thing, Steen does another. For the grade levels, PTOs, anything that you could think of, what happens in one school doesn't happen in another. We want to make sure moving forward that does not happen. And we're going to go into that. Next slide, please. So when I first got to Bogota, I was the vice principal 15 years ago, and 7th and 8th grade were in the high school. I came from Hudson County. I was not used to that at all, but it's always how these smaller Bergen towns were, these junior, senior high school. But what I began to notice right away is that our 7th and 8th grade students grew up way too fast. And someone in 7th grade knew too much already. During COVID, we had the opportunity to lease the St. Joe's School. So at the time, Steen and Bixby were already full of many, many students, and we didn't have a lot of room. The high school, which is the biggest school, had the most room and can absorb the most students. So the idea at the time was to take the 7th grade out of the high school and the 6th grade out of the elementary schools. And if you could look in 2020 in our high school, which was a 712 building, had 529 students. In Bixby, which was a pre-K 6, had 301 students, and Steen was pre-K 6, also had 331 students. So we had about a total of 1,161 students. I did these numbers last month, and this was after a re-registration process that had us lose 50 or 60 students. The high school is at 482. The middle school, which is a new building, which houses our 6th and 7th grade, is at 165. But Bixby and Steen, that lost the grade level, actually has more students. Bixby has 316 and Steen has 342. So we are bursting at the seams. My original plan was to make sure that my original plan was to take the 7th and 8th grade out of the high school. but I cannot push back the sixth grade into the elementary schools right now because there's just zero room to do so. So what we're planning on doing right now is for next year is make Bixby a pre-K through second grade school, and Steen will be a third grade through fifth grade school. That is our plan. The reason for the population explosion are two reasons I could think of. During COVID, a lot of people, the housing market rose and a lot of people moved into Bogota. A lot of those houses did not have children because those children are already graduated. But now with families moving into those houses, we have more students. Also, our universal free pre-K, we've been a destination for a lot of families because we are offering free full-day pre-K for ages 3 and 4. So we've had more parents looking to come into our district as well. Next slide, please. So this is going to be Mr. Chang first. Go up, Mr. Chang, you're up.
Yeah, so one of the first main reasons why we're doing this is to improve alignment of curriculum and instruction. So as Mr. Kennedy has said, there's always been kind of like a Bixby kid, a Steen kid, a little bit of rivalry here, but there are natural discrepancies between the schools. Right now, our schools are divided out by geography. So depending on where you live, that's your assigned school. And right now it is uneven. And traditionally, we have had about 2 classes per grade. So we might have 2 fourth grade classes at Bixby, 2 fourth grade classes at Steen. And just the way it works with instruction, there are some gaps and academic discrepancies. So we're trying to close that. Another reason is that schools, when they, instead of a pre-K through fifth grade, if it's focused on upper elementary and lower elementary, the schools can specialize and they can really target those specific grades. Educational activities and events, so assemblies, field trips, any types of activities, they can focus strictly on their target grade levels. It's oftentimes difficult for principals or teachers to meet the needs of the entire school when they have an 11, 12-year-old or 10-year-old, and then also a 3 and 4-year-old at the same assembly. So when you have a smaller band of students, you can target activities that are age appropriate. And as I said earlier, with the targeting of a smaller band of students, you can do interesting things. You have more flexibility with the daily schedule. You can build in different types of breaks. And it's the same thing for the older kids. You can build in different types of structuring within the schedule for older students as well. In general, redistricting leads to smaller, more balanced classrooms because, as I said before, right now, the way that we assign students is by your geography, like which street do you live on and where's your house. And sometimes that leads to more kids in one school and less kids in another school, but they're in the same grade. We've had issues where we've had classes in one school where there might be, 16, 17 kids. And then in the other school, but the same grade, we might have 23, 24, sometimes even 25 kids. And it becomes, it becomes an issue with size and space. But if we have all of the students together in the same school, we can evenly balance it out very quickly. And that's just better for everybody. It does offer the possibility to later on to have more departmentalization or semi-departmentalization. What that really means is if there are only 2 fourth grade teachers or 2 third grade teachers, that's all you can really work with, 2 classes. But when you have 4 teachers in one grade, there's more flexibility in who teaches what between the teachers. So that's something we don't plan on doing immediately, but it does leave that open as a possibility. Another major reason is enhanced teacher collaboration and professional development. So it is planning for professional development and training of our teachers is way more tricky when you have teachers split between two different schools. Anytime you have, split teachers that are teaching them on the same grade, it becomes very difficult. So putting all your same grade level teachers together actually helps with training. It allows the entire grade of teachers to collaborate. Whereas, in the past, even especially before we had virtual meetings, it was, maybe there are times when, the second grade teachers might have seen the second grade teachers in the other school once a year, maybe. Just the way that their work schedules are, other meetings. But when they're all together, not only can you schedule in grade level meetings, but there are informal ways that teachers often collaborate, whether or not that's at lunch or before school or after school. There's more communication when people are close to you. Efficient use of resources. So when teachers come together and they're telling each other what they're doing in their classrooms, it is a more efficient way when there's more teachers together. What that really means is when teachers were split, they would really only share with their partner. But now that they're all together, one person can share amongst 4 or 5 teachers that are all together. So it's a more efficient way of sharing resources. And improve support staff as well. So, right now, a guidance counselor might have to be ready to support students, or your social workers might have to support students from a 3-year-old all the way up until a 10, 11-year-old, all within the same hour, possibly. But when we have support staff that knows that they're only going to be working with pre-K through second, they can focus on early childhood. And then obviously 3rd through 5th have different issues. They're more mature, but they are not mature, as opposed to the, your preschoolers who are, just learn to socialize, and their problems are different than 5th grade problems. So that kind of support structure, having a more narrow and focused kind of content area is important. And then, of course, administrators can just focus on a narrower band instead of having to meet the needs of pre-K through 5th grade. And we touched upon this a little bit, but obviously the optimized use of resources and facilities. So one thing is obviously facilities, curriculum materials. These are things that we deal with all the time. So for example, if we order all of the math stuff, we have to order all of pre-K through 5th grade for one building, and then again for the other building, the same exact stuff. Oftentimes we have to get it shipped in one place, and then we have to manually divide things out and then bring them over to the other school. Now, all of this 1st grade, all your early elementary stuff will go to one building. All your upper elementary will go to another building. We don't have to figure out splits. We don't have to move things back and forth. It makes things much easier. Again, specialized spaces. So, in our schools right now, we have desks for preschoolers, for kindergartners, 1st graders, but there are different desks for your 4th and 5th graders. We have toilets that are meant for little kids, and we have toilets meant for 4th and 5th graders. There's furniture that's involved. In gym, there's things in gym that only really work for little kids, and they're only things that work for older kids. But we have to double everything for each school. So if a school only has pre-K through 2nd, they can order things just for that age. And then they can order things just for the older kids. So it's just a more efficient and optimized way of resourcing as well. Smoother transitions in school community. So if you think about it, there will be double the amount of students per grade per school. So right now we might have, let's say, 40 first graders in one school and 40 first graders in another school. But once we bring everyone together, there would be 80. When you have more of the same students in that grade, there are more social opportunities. You will have more kids the same age as you. So there's a better possibility of more friends, teams, age appropriate clubs and groups. And also, you know, the transition aspect of it, it's probably a better condition or learning environment when you have younger kids with younger kids and older kids with older kids, not 3-year-olds with fifth graders. It's similar to what Mr. Kennedy was saying when you had your seventh grader with a 17, 18-year-old kid. Sometimes, you know, their maturity levels are at different places. Again, you can create more events and activities that are tailored to the age group. So if you wanted to do something for first and second grade or kindergarten, it's probably appropriate for everyone in the school, as opposed to, you know, keeping another group out like fifth graders, fourth graders, and third graders. You don't have to figure something out for two different types of groups. And from like a PTO standpoint, if you really think about it, you have more possibilities of volunteers because there are more of the same age group altogether. So there will be more of first graders parents, more second grade parents, more kindergarten parents. So the PTO can probably plan for more age appropriate events by school. It just makes it a little bit easier. And there are also some challenges. I think, Mr. Kennedy, are you going to address this?
Yes. You could put them all up and I'll get to them one by one.
Sure.
And then Sam, just look at the chat and maybe you can answer some questions as I go through this, but, you know, we're a small district, so, you know, some of our neighboring schools have, you know, buildings with, you know, 1,000 middle school students in it. So let's just talk about some of the challenges, and I know these are some of the bigger questions that the community is out here for. So we definitely recognize that next year we will have to have different start and end times at each school. Right now at the high school and the middle school, we would stay with the same 8:15 to 2:40. Steen, which would be our older students, would be 8:20 to 2:45. So those those three buildings, that's their current times now. We've never had any complaints or concerns with getting students to the middle school, high school, or Steen at these times. Now, Bixby would be 10 minutes later to give time for parents that have multiple elementary students. So 8:30 to 2:55. So we feel like this will be plenty of time to get people across town if that has to be. We also have early drop-off. Our buildings are open 30 minutes every day for breakfast, that students are allowed to come into the building and eat breakfast. That happens, and I don't think enough parents take that opportunity to drop their students off early and they can have breakfast. So traffic and drop off. So people complain about traffic all the time. So 100%, I recognize traffic is a problem. That's why we're looking to do a shuttle from one elementary to the other. So we would have a pickup at Bixby, let's say, and these are rough times at 8 o'clock. And from Bixby, that bus would go right to Steen to drop off at 8:10. And then there'd be a pickup at Steen for students that have to go to Bixby at 8:10 to get there at 8:20. So those times are not precise right now, and we will work on those times because we would have to do some test run. But I plan on, we've already worked on it. We have the bus, we have bus drivers. We would like to do that. And that also helps with that also helps with the traffic in the morning. So that'll be something that will be helpful. Uniform. So again, we've opened up a school before. I opened up that middle school where people were worried about uniforms. The plan would be that you can use your Bixby and Steen shirts right now. Any new shirt would be a new color that would be the same for both Bixby and Steen. I do feel bad. There is a grade, I think first grade right now would be a grade that will move between schools both years, which would be a lot for them. So there will be growing pains to this, obviously, like anything else. Things will come up and we will address them as they come up and fix it. I like to think that we're gonna have a great plan, but until we implement that plan, there will be something that's gonna happen that we're gonna have to reshuffle the deck and make it work. I don't see any major problems, but these are things that I think are going to help us be successful right away. We will be doing building tours, opening up the building for parents to come and see. And we talked about already with my admin team doing class swaps where one day we will take the second graders from, the second graders from Bixby, and then show them what Steen looks like in third grade. And we started working on that, like it will be a field trip as we get to the later months of the school year where the students are going to go to their new buildings and see what they look like, meet the people, meet their teachers. Sam, is there anything else, or the next thing is just questions?
Yeah, just questions.
So I know there's been questions in the chat, and I know, Sam, you started answering them.
Yes, I'm answering a couple. Let me see if there's anything here that I think maybe you want to answer on. I
Let
think
me just,
you talked a little bit about traffic. Traffic is a question. Preschools like Trinity and Bogart, their times. I don't know if Kathleen, did we determine it's still 8:30?
Yes, all of preschool is 8:30 to 2:30.
I think only the high school and Steen have electric signs. The middle school, there's not a sign that's connected to the middle school. And we have talked about getting Bixby a sign, but again, the PTOs raise money. That's not something that we budgeted for. So that is, we are trying to do that, but the high school and Steen are on major roads that people drive by every day. So it's more informational. What does the population for each building look like after redistricting? I would say similar to what it is now. Like at the end of the day, we're taking 150 kids from one building and moving it to the other. We're moving 3 grade levels at the end of the day, which is about 50 to 60 kids per class. Now, each class is different. So, for example, someone asked before about the discrepancy between elementary schools or is that a teacher problem? If one class has 25 students and the other class has 14 to 15 kids, the students with 14 and 15, the class with 14 and 15 kids is always going to do a little bit better because they're getting more personalized individual attention. Where with 25 students, it gets a little bit tougher. That's why we're hoping when we put kids into the same building that you can narrow that out to 20s and make it even for everybody. Pre-K, we don't offer it to. I'm sorry. Pre-K is a special grant that we have, and that's not funded through the district. So I don't know I can't speak to before care because that's different. We will have, so who will be in charge of putting kids on the bus? We will have staff members out there that we're going to be responsible for that at each building, sending and receiving. We've talked to a couple of districts already. We're going to see that in action where they offer courtesy busing building to building. So that'll be something that we are definitely looking at, and we are already spoken to a few districts that do it, but I want to see it in action. But we will have to have teachers outside that'll be responsible for getting the kids on the bus, and then when they get there, getting them off the bus right into the building. Is there a plan to move the 8th grade out of the high school? If my numbers come down, 100%. Yeah, we talked to the police department. Will addition signage, traffic controllers, or safety personnel be added to handle potential congestion? We are working with the police department. We did do a traffic study. I'm sure we could put it on the website. They gave a few examples of asking more kids to walk to school is what they said at the end of the day, but we could definitely share that. Requirements for bus pickup. So what's going to end up happening next, and when we have spoken to other districts, is we're going to be sending out a form to see who would be even interested in busing. That'll be the first step for figuring out how to handle the busing, and then those parents will be specifically another meeting will be set for them, and then there will be more precise information given out at that time. Do we have a say in this? You did. Part of the referendum was redistricting. Question number 1 throughout the process said if you are voting on number 1, you are voting on redistricting. That was something that was put out everywhere. Every meeting we had, it stated it very clearly that this is part of the referendum, and for us to do this. The shuttle will be free. No, nothing to do with the federal education department. Again, we've been planning on this redistricting for a few years, and when we passed the referendum, that was part of it. Aftercare will still be in the same schools. There'll be aftercare in Steen. There'll be aftercare in Bixby. Bogart, I don't have a say over Bogart, so I still imagine it'll have early drop off. We're looking to see about after school, if a shuttle bus is needed. If we have enough students that need to go back and forth, yes, that will require parents picking up from there. So we will definitely be looking at that. So again, I need the data first on how many people need to go to school and from school. I imagine a lot of our younger kids stay at aftercare if they have to stay at aftercare. So drop off, we can figure out how we're going to do that. If your child is currently at Bogart, are they able to stay there versus being reassigned to Bixby? The only students being reassigned to Bixby are our current pre-K students in Steen. So that means anyone that's in a Steen pre-K 3 this year would be in Bixby pre-K next year. How will students be assigned to individual classes and teachers? Our principals will be meeting with their teachers. We've started the process. Teachers already know if they're moving. They also know who they're teaching with. So what we're going to do is get those teachers into a room and start talking about getting these kids into classes like we do everywhere. What is system in place to give us metrics? That will be on if the plan is actually working. Yes, I mean, our principals will be responsible for that. They submit. Again, this might take 2 or 3 years to see testing wise. Like that's where the data, where I'm going to have hard data on it. But I'll know in October and November if it's working from the community's reaction. Has this been proven elsewhere? Other districts have been very successful doing it. A lot of districts try to do it, but haven't been fortunate to be able to do it That's why part of the referendum was adding those bathrooms to Bixby, because for the younger grades, we needed to have bathrooms installed in the classroom. After-school programs at Bixby, how can we start applying? I believe that'll open up after this school year. If you are on the Bixby side and you want to get to the Steen side, so how can you determine which students will be able to take the shuttle bus? So what I'm saying to parents is, you say you can get your kid to Steen and you can't get them to Bixby. Well, I'll get them to Bixby from Steen. So your job will be get them to Steen like you normally would. And there'll be precise directions on how to do that. But if you're there, your kid will be going on the bus. And again, we're going to have a lot more information on the busing, but I did want to ease some questions today that yes, we do plan on offering that shuttle bus. For kindergarten students, yes, I believe we do have car seats available. We do that now. 10 minutes of staggered time is not realistic to move through traffic right now. So again, I can only tell you that the buildings are opened a half an hour before the start of school. So the problem is that everyone likes to come the last 3 minutes. So that's why there is traffic a lot of days. The shuttle bus, I have electric school bus now. So technically, no, it's not going to be costing us more money. And we have our own bus drivers in district. So they're getting paid already, because if they're not on the bus doing bus runs, they are working elsewhere. So that won't drop too much. Drop off at Bixby, yes, we continue to work with the police department, so that'll, more information will be coming out about that. But yes, busing at Bixby can be a little harrowing. We will have specific, we have talked to the town about making one-way streets around Bixby for a smoother drop off and pickup situation. But once we have more information on that, we will get that to you. I think I answered the maintenance and the busing. Again, we run buses every day in Bogota. We'll just be running a bigger bus now. I don't imagine the square mile town of us going back and forth and dropping out kids. I'm hoping that will ease congestion in the morning, because if I can get 50 to 30 to 50 kids out of cars and onto that bus, that's going to make drop off a little bit easier. Teachers in Bixby, that I'll leave to the principals to share. I don't want to say right now, like, I can't tell you exactly what teachers are moving where. Teachers were given not a choice, but their preference, and then we placed them accordingly. There will be OT and PT, and anything that's in their IEP, those students will still get what they get. We will give you the exact new times of when they can enter the building, but in the past, it's always been 30 minutes before the start of the school day. We have a teacher or someone on duty covering the lunch program in the morning. Can we have a safe patrol for walking path from Bixby side to Steen and vice versa? I mean, I don't know if I can put little kids out on the street if they're not around the school, but definitely around the school. Yes, for students that would change, but we do have some changes all the time. We have kids going from Steen to Bixby because of an IEP. We have kids that change IEPs and go back to Steen. That is something that we will be monitoring. Our self-contained classes, I think by regulation have to be a certain number, so we will always try to keep them small. Busing will not be for pre-K students, just for kindergarten and up. Yeah, I guess I'm not gonna answer any specific questions about a specific family question for your family. I'd rather have that conversation offline. I don't think anyone agreed to explain like this. I mean, we have videos explaining exactly why we were doing it. This was all part of the referendum. Yes, we'll figure out the staggered times for delayed openings and things like that. Like, we'll have very specific detailed when you go to that school about what times will be for each school. Sam, just put up the drop-off times up. People are asking about that. If there's a chance it doesn't work, we'll go to return to how it is now. I mean, I am not the type of person that says it's my way or no way. I would like to give this a good try. Academically, we feel it's good. Socially, it's good for the students. Some people made up their mind that this is not going to work before we even did it. So before I say I will never go back, I would never say that. I will definitely be giving this a couple of years. This is something that we think is the best for our students. At the end of the day, that's the decisions that we are left up to, and we feel that our students are going to get the best out of this for them and for our families moving up. For STEAM students, will be a mandatory parent guardian pickup. It would be the same pickup it is now by grade level, right? Elementaries, what time are they allowed to walk home from school? Fifth grade?
Fourth and fifth grade can walk.
So it's the same now as it is, it will be the same allowed to leave. Will the uniform change? Yes, we will make a new uniform shirt that will be eligible for both schools. So if you buy it 1 year, you can wear it the next year. How many classes per grade and what would be the typical class size? Again, that's really a fluid question. We try never to go over 25. And again, we did this whole big redistricting and a lot of students left, but the housing market has been hot in Pagoda and a lot of people are moving in. We've had some new apartments. We haven't gotten a million students from there, but we have gotten some. So we could definitely find out what other districts are doing this. I'm sorry I don't have that information, but I do know of some districts that that definitely do this. So we get that information to you. Again, I don't have control of the streets, but we are working with the town to try to make that work. Are there any negative use cases for elementary redistrict in New Jersey that you could share? Not that I'm aware of. Shuttle bus, yes. I think what's going to happen next is we will be sending out a survey to the parents to ask if you would be interested in a shuttle bus from school to school for drop off and pickup. So when we will do that. Many complaints about the odor of marijuana in STEAM playgrounds. I've never received a complaint about that. Again, during the day, I've been there. I mean, Ms. DiCongilio, has that been something that during the day you hear? I mean, after school, you know, that would have to be a police matter. But from my understanding, it's legal and the police are not really arresting students. So, but if it's on our watch, definitely during the school day or after school, the kids are told to leave. Any consideration of kids that have school friends not having classes together or interacting? Well, they will always have chance to interact during lunch and things like that and recess. So that will still happen. Let's try and look at some of these questions I have not answered. Yes, so the lunchroom situation at Bixby, we are that project is starting this summer. We are building a bigger gym in Bixby so that the lunch program and any programs that we have, Bixby Gym is going to be much bigger, hopefully by October next year. I don't think there'll be a combination PTO. I think there will be a Bixby PTO and a Steen PTO. Kindergarten classes have instruction aid per classroom, I believe, based off the number of students, yes, if it's needed. I mean, I can't make River Road safe. I mean, I don't have that ability. I can only voice concerns to the police, to the PD department. Crossing guards will walk with the town. Can we vote on this in the near future? That referendum vote is pass. So here's what I would say. I think I did my best to try to answer as many questions. I mean, you fired a bunch of them, which was great. I appreciate it. So what will happen next is if you feel like you would like to have further conversations, you could definitely reach out to me. You can send me an email. I'm fine meeting with parents or even a quick phone call to answer any other questions that you have. I'm sorry, a couple more just came in. Middle school does not have a shuttle bus option. No, not right now. Specials will be moving similar to now, hopefully only between Bixby and Steen. I guess that is your opinion. If you felt, we've spoke about this many times. Redistricting was always part of this plan. I would love for you to come in and I could go back and look at all the literature that was sent out, videos that were posted. This is something that has been spoken about since the referendum and the vote. So if you feel you missed it, I'll be honest with you, I'm shocked how many people don't even realize we had a referendum vote. I sent out text messages, phone calls, emails. So I can only speak from where I'm sitting, and I do my best to try to get information out to the parents. I'm sometimes accused saying that we send out too much information and that parents are not even reading some of it sometimes. So again, if you feel that this was done in secret, come sit down with me and I will show you all the information that we have that I sent out purposely, videos that were shared. We had town hall meetings. I went to PTO. I went to every PTO meeting and discussed this. And I remember going to Bixby PTO and they brought up a good point. And that point, I was like, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. And I went to every PTO meeting to discuss redistricting before the referendum vote, which I'm 100% sure I did. Because getting the eighth graders out of the high school was something I always wanted to do for this town. But with our population explosion, I'm not able to do that at this time. I'm hoping that our population increase slows down. But with free pre-K, with these homes opening up, this is part of you'd be surprised how many people we're catching and kicking out of district that are giving us fake information about living here. The point brought up to me at the Bixby PTO, I have to think for a second, because I remember even saying that's an excellent question. That is something we didn't think about. I have to really think about this because now I think we're going about 4 years ago, but I remember clearly sitting there and saying, that's a great point, and that's something I didn't think of. So, again, this will be a change. This will be something that they'll have some growing pains, but at the end of the day, we feel this is going to be what is best for our students. And we hope everyone has an open mind to get this starting. So we can definitely have further conversations. You can always call the board office. You can always email me. My email is very simple, dkennedy@pagodaboe.com. You see my emails, obviously you've got these links. So feel free to reach out to me and sit down with me and have a conversation. If anyone has anything else, please reach out to me. But I want to thank everyone for coming here tonight and have a great night. Is that done?